Welcome back, everyone. This is part 3 of the King's Castle. King James along with Blair Chopin. And right now it's time for me to clear up some WrestleMania rumors that have kind of been floating through the air over the past couple of weeks. And one relates to something I told you about earlier, in the fact that Goldberg could potentially go into WrestleMania as champion. Now that's important because I also heard here recently that the match between him and Brock Lesnar could be a title versus career match. Meaning, if Lesnar wins, he becomes champion, but if he loses, he leaves the WWE.
That's interesting.
What do you make of that?
You know, as we talked about on the show before, I don't think the Lesnar-WWE relationship is honestly that good. I don't think Lesnar really ideally wants to be there. I don't think that they like that he only comes around when he needs something, kind of.
Right.
When he's off and he only does the big matches and everything.
So you think he's just doing this to make extra money?
Oh, yeah, he's making a lot of money. But I don't think it's where he wants to be. And, you know, I think he's kind of hindered some storylines before. And so it'd be interesting. Do they say the same thing that Goldberg's career is on the line also?
Well, we haven't heard that. But like I said, this is just a rumor that we picked up from another source over the past few weeks.
That'd be interesting because you'd figure the person whose career... We've always assumed that Goldberg would bow out kind of after WrestleMania.
Exactly. I mean...
Because he made it sound like when he came back that this was going to be a very short-term thing.
But on the other hand, in a way, it would make sense to... In a way, from a financial standpoint, don't you think it would make sense to give Goldberg the title and then maybe let him stay champion up until, say, SummerSlam?
But it was always my assumption that Goldberg only wanted to wrestle one match. So
because let's be honest, the WrestleMania Royal Rumble deal was struck just days before Survivor Series.
Right.
So, stranger things have happened. But, from a business standpoint, Raw, at this point, since the draft has been at its lowest point as far as ratings, so I think they need to keep Goldberg as champion to build ratings because...
that makes sense.
People like Goldberg. And let's be honest, since the draft, SmackDown has beaten Raw in the ratings time and time again. Why? Because the SmackDown brand is actually listening to the fans.
Whoa! Tell them about it, James. Expand on that.
The SmackDown brand knows what kind of matches the fans want to see. They're not any kind of power-hungry... They're not any kind of power-hungry storylines going on. They work as a unit, and it makes sense. And let's be honest. A couple of weeks ago at the Royal Rumble, they only had one match on the card, that being the Styles Cena title match, and they stole the show. So
do you think, what do you think the problem with Raw is? Do you think they're too complacent? Like they think they're the biggest show in town, so they don't have to listen to the fans?
Honestly, yeah. I think certain people, and I'm talking to you, Steph.
Whoa! Shots fired!
Have become too complacent of certain heel superstars, and they're not really paying attention to what the fans want because...
What heel superstars are you referring to?
I'm referring to people like Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, Braun Strowman, just to name a few.
So what do you think they should do with those guys?
Honestly, I think they've taken a good step in bringing in Samoa Joe and giving Braun Strowman what he wants in the way of more heavyweight competition. But I think they need to broaden the storyline a little bit as far as the Universal title. They need to make Owens drop the belt and then make Owens and Jericho turn heel against each other for real. And they really need to give us more than expected. Because in the words of in the words of my good friend Ollie Davis from Wrestle Talk News, Raw has become...
Are you guys actually friends?
Well, internet friends.
Wait, you talked to Allie Davis?
I've commented on a few of his things, so shout out.
Has he commented back?
Once or twice.
Whoa! BFFs!
But anyway, in his words, the past few weeks on Raw, except for going into and the night after the Royal Rumble, have been nothing but average and core. So, they need to step things up big.
So I got a follow-up question with you. Do you think part of the problem is that they're trying to use Kevin Owens as the main guy? A headliner and a champion?
Honestly, no. I can see why he'd be a main guy. The problem is...
He doesn't strike you as more of a mid-card guy instead of a superstar?
Right. The problem is they're putting too many of their big guys, like Rollins and Reigns, into too many big matches too consistently. Like, for instance, the match with Reigns and Joe this past week. Yeah, it's a good idea, but it also weakens somebody who could be a big star.
Like who?
It weakens Reigns because, let's be honest, if this Undertaker Reigns thing rolls through, that means after WrestleMania, Reigns is the guy. And I don't mean that for storyline purposes, I mean that literally. So you need to...
How is that?
You need to be a little more protective of your superstars as far as I'm concerned.
So are you worried that Roman Reigns is going to get hurt?
Yes. Considering
Would that be the worst thing in the world?
Yes.
Why?
Because let's be honest, I actually have faith in Roman Reigns.
Why do you still have faith in him?
Because if they didn't have faith in him, do you think they would have made him the champion before? During last year's show?
Yeah, but they've had faith in him and they've made him champion.
Do you think
it's never worked out?
Do you think they would have let him main event WrestleMania for 2 consecutive years?
James, that's not the point. You're missing the point. The point is that not that he was main eventing WrestleMania, but that he was handed the opportunity to main event WrestleMania.
Right.
And that's why the fans will never ever like him, besides the little children.
Right.
But the little children, that's a big thing. That's who buys the merch.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, it might be an F your feelings situation
and
for the older fans.
In my opinion, you're not really listening to the kids if you're not being protective. But anyway.
But yeah, but like, that's where the WWE's got to make tough decisions, right?
Yeah.
Because they get to think having Roman Reigns champion or close to champion is really good for business because of how much merch and action figures and bobbleheads that young kids buy, all that kind of stuff. That adults just simply don't buy.
Yeah.
But like the older fans obviously have some sort of resentment towards them. I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing. So I think on most of those occasions, they'll go with what's best for business. Because that's what it is overall, it's a business.
Right.
So while I'm saying that the Roman Reigns being pushed is frustrating, I don't like his character that much. Like, I don't think, like, it's something they're going to stop.
And I don't necessarily agree with some things that a lot of fans have been saying over the past few weeks. Like, for instance, the possible elimination of the Cruiserweight division. Or taking Raw back down to 2 hours. That's not what you need to do.
Raw back down to 2 hours is a great idea.
You actually think so?
Yes.
Why?
Yes, that's the fact that these things are... How long, first of all, how long is SmackDown?
2 hours.
Exactly. People can't watch... James, you're part of the minority. You could watch wrestling all day. But Raw moves so slow. So slow.
And you're saying that because...
Because there's just people and they're walking in slow motion. It's like they're just trying to kill time. And it's just these storylines move slower. Like, if you're saying what this thing needs is a kick in the tail, like having to shorten the thing up will give it quite the kick in the tail.
Right.
Because the full episode the night that Goldberg came back, and it almost put me to sleep. But if it was 2 hours, I think it would be a lot better.
Well, we'll just see. But as far as the cruiserweights are concerned, you're trying to expand it, and I'll give you credit. You're doing pretty good with that.
Me personally, you're welcome.
So
I'm doing a great job.
We'll just see.
I think the idea for the cruiserweights of making that a network exclusive that I pitched last week, I don't think that's a bad idea.
Exactly. But
what would you do with the cruiserweights?
Honestly, like I said before, I would think it'd make more sense to break the brand up. And by that I mean part of the cruiserweights go to Raw, part of the cruiserweights go to SmackDown. That way their storylines can be a little more spread out. And that way the champion could be on both shows. Sort of like what they used to do with the WWE title back during the first draft. I think it would make more sense to do it that way. Because
what about like a 1 hour Friday show or a 1 hour Wednesday show?
Well, excuse me for saying this, but isn't that the point of 205 Live? That expansion? That's the 1 hour show.
Did they already do that?
Yeah.
And that didn't work?
Well, like I said last week, 205 Live is safe, but there's talk that the cruiserweights could be removed from Raw in the coming weeks, and I don't think that'd be a good thing.
Well, I mean, I think it would be worth it if the show went down to 2 hours. Honestly,
you do?
Yes.
Well,
I mean, if they already have their own separate venue,
I honestly think that
I can kind of
this would be a good fan question. So if you think Raw should go down to 2 hours, please feel free to let us know and say why or why not in the comments.
Okay, I have a question for you. Don't you think Raw going down to 2 hours would make them think on their feet a little more, and it would help with the complacency issues you brought up earlier?
It could, but on the other hand, you got to remember in 2000 they tried doing the same thing with Nitro during the days of WCW, and that didn't work because they didn't have any management.
Yeah, well, they have better management at the WWE now.
Yeah.
Another point I like to bring up with you is it's not 1997 anymore. It's 2017.
Right.
People have no patience anymore.
Right.
Very ADD generation. Whereas in 1997...
Okay, what does that mean?
Whereas in 1997, people can't pay attention to things for long times anymore. Unless it's like... The only sport people can do before is football, and the ratings went down like 15% at times for that this year. So what I'm saying is... Like, people don't have the patience for 3 hour events anymore.
Okay, real quick. How much time do we have left on the meter? Because
we got about 2 minutes.
Because I do have another question. I've heard another rumor that as far as Triple H is concerned this year at WrestleMania, Triple H could face SmackDown Commissioner Shane McMahon, and if Shane were to lose, he would give up his job. You think that'd be a good thing or a bad thing?
It's always interesting with Shane, because obviously Shane's not a lifer for the WWE, right?
Right.
Like, he has other interests.
His return wasn't supposed to be long-term.
Right, so is that just a convenient way for him to get out, maybe?
I would think. But like we said, these are all just rumors that have been pitched.
But to be honest with you, if Shane is honestly making the decisions for SmackDown, which I have no reason to think that's actually not true, I'm sure he's helping out with the decision-making at least.
Yeah.
I think he's done a good job. Especially since SmackDown's getting higher ratings than Raw.
Yeah.
Which I would have never seen coming.
Yeah. Honestly, Blair, I kind of saw it coming from the beginning because they drafted the established stars during the last summer. So we'll see. But anyway, when we come back, it'll be time to give you our picks for What's Hot for the Week, so stay right there.